Well, it's 10:16 and it's time to get going, folks. This is being recorded on YouTube and on our local. Thank you, Tessa. Welcome, everybody. My name is Jesse Sims. I'm an outdoor grants manager with the Recreation and Conservation Office. This is our one and only day of evaluations in the WWRP water access category. Applicants will be presenting the projects to our volunteer advisory committee who will score the projects. And thanks for joining us. So we have Michelle from Seattle. Are you going to be presenting today?
Yes, hi everyone. Yes, I'll be presenting today, but I'm also joined here today with Colin Campbell, and he is the project manager for this project.
Okay, great. Well, thank you. So I'm going to stop my video and then I'm going to give you controls, Michelle. See if you double click. It's okay. Just want to make sure you got controls.
Yeah, I certainly do. Okay.
And then, so just as a reminder to you, you have 12 minutes to give your presentation, and then there'll be 8 minutes for Q&A at the end. So you can go ahead and start whenever you're ready.
Okay. This project, Carkeek Park Rail Overpass, will replace a pedestrian bridge that is near the end of its useful life. The existing bridge is shown here on the bottom. It'll be replaced with a new cable stay bridge shown at the top. This bridge connects popular Carkeek Park across dangerous rail lines and onto the beach below. Without this bridge, we would lose safe access to the beach. The project is located in King County within Seattle UGA on Puget Sound. With close access from I-5 and State Road 99 and served by bus rapid transit shown red in the bottom, the bridge is at the far west side of this large Carkeek Park. Safe beach access is unique in North Seattle and further north because the train hugs the coast, separating the beach from the land. With 40 trains each day, there have been accidents. Number one, public need. Carkeek Park, shown here, with its trails shown in red, learning programs, environmental learning center here in the middle, and other activity generators draw thousands of visitors to this popular destination park. Piper's Creek, shown along east-west, hopefully you can see my cursor, and outfalling at Puget Sound near the bridge, has been restored by the community to be salmon bearing and reaches Puget Sound on the beach near the bridge. Accessing this location from the park is important to counting salmon for WWRP and for learning. The Salmon in Schools program hosts around 70 schools at Carkeek Park as the kids learn about stormwater and how human actions impact salmon. In short, there are no other water access points that can compare to this location for the unique learning experience. Within 15 miles of the site, north of the Ship Canal, it is very rare to find water access because of the train, and only 5 locations are available. They're shown here. And there are 2 locations who provide water access with a pedestrian bridge, and that's Richmond Beach and Picnic Point. Since the train is only a barrier to the north, there's more beach access to the south, and viewpoints and learning centers are also shown on this map in blue and red. Because of its 330-foot width at low tide, the beach at Carkeek Park is wider and higher quality compared to the other safe access locations north. At low tide, an additional 20 acres of tide pools are exposed, and the beach is 1.5 miles long. Kids come here for education and environmental learning through many programs. This is not a comprehensive list, but among the activities are school programs, which include 480 youth from Title I low-income schools. The park and water access are not in underserved communities, but we believe this park is still worthy of generous RCO support because while wealthier families can afford to take their children on visits to parks and to see salmon, a good chance for more at-risk children to have the same opportunity is through school programs such as the ones that are in place here at Carkeek Park. Close into the site, the census tract does have higher income, lower residents of color. Still, the area close to Carkeek Park within the 2 miles shown have higher rates of diabetes and obesity and racial inequity, as shown with the brown areas on this map. The project is listed in the 2017 Seattle Parks and Recreation Open Space Plan. Number 3, project design. Here's a close-up photo of the existing bridge. There's steep, inaccessible, and the 5-foot narrow cage at the top limits access for small watercraft. The existing bridge has been recommended to be replaced based on condition assessment and bridge feasibility study, and it does not meet current BNSF standards for height or setback of supports. The support is very close to the rail line, making regular maintenance challenging. Because the height clearances are not met, trains are hitting the bridge. As shown in the red box on the bottom right, that is a dent caused by a train strike. Leaking has caused corrosion in many areas of the bridge. The city studied the feasibility of replacing the bridge to meet BNSF design recommendations, and the study considered different bridge styles, sizing, layout of options, and recommended the cable-stayed bridge shown here. The cable-stayed bridge style was selected for low maintenance costs as compared to the cost of maintaining the existing bridge, in part because the supports will be far enough from the train that they can more easily be serviced. Long expected life of 75 years. It is cost-effective and fast to construct, and this style bridge allows for a main support to be on the land side where the land is more stable than the beach side. The open design preserves views of the train and the water. The design includes new landscaping and an interpretive plaza. The bridge provides water access to the beach with educational activities, beach combing, swimming, salmon viewing, and counting, and the wider bridge will allow the transport of small watercraft. So once again, to reiterate, without this bridge, there would no longer be a connection to the beach and the beach activities, a safe connection. The design includes an approach ramp that will be made wider with an accessible slope. And the existing bridge shown to the left is very steep, not accessible. The popular landing at the water side is crowded. Whoops. Sorry about that. And inaccessible, and will be improved with a designated accessible viewing platform. We studied the possibility of adding a ramp or an elevator to the beach here, but the ramp would have been too long and an elevator would not have been supported by the soils. The rails are on property owned by BNSF, and an existing easement expires when the current bridge is no longer used, so we will renegotiate the easement from their boilerplate. We've confirmed that BNSF has received our 10% plans, and we have their next steps. On advice from Snohomish County, we are advertising for an experienced consultant to lead the negotiations and advise our property team. Because this is a maintenance project to replace the bridge, we expect to be exempt from shoreline and city environmentally critical areas code. Work will be above the ordinary high water line, so no Army Corps or DFW permits, only a construction permit will be required. The engineer's estimate is provided by RHC Engineering, a firm familiar with bridge construction in this area. Number 4, sustainability, ecological factors. Stormwater will be managed with green stormwater infrastructure to ensure that no undue burden is placed on the aquatic system. New plantings will help improve air quality, and the area of impact is minimal. Social factors. The site is connected by multiple modes of transportation. The educational experience of studying the salmon life cycle and being able to see the point of exit by crossing the bridge to get to the location where Carkeek Park meets Puget Sound, reaches all public school kids once during 4th or 5th grades, therefore making society as a whole more environmentally aware. This is through the Salmon in the Schools program. Economic factors involve longer lifespan, lower maintenance costs. SPR is committed to long-term maintenance of the bridge in the form of resources, equipment, and staff. The Carkeek Park Advisory Council, along with several other local organizations, including Carkeek Stars, are among the groups that contribute thousands of volunteer time to support this park. Site suitability, number 5. The beach presents challenges for construction. High tides may get even higher with potential to intermittently submerge supports. The soil is soft. Area is also subject to strikes by beach debris. So this bridge design allows for a main footing on the land side to avoid the potential for beach settling by limiting the load on the beach side. The proposal conforms to BNSF design recommendations for vertical and lateral clearances. And the recreation elements that this bridge provides are largely already in place and do not need to be reinitiated. And this is the access to the beach that would go away because this provides a safe crossing, this bridge. Expansion or renovation, number 6. The new bridge will provide expanded interpretive signage, more use of the beach for watercraft, expanded accessibility where there was none, and expanded clearances to meet BNSF standards. Number 7, diversity of recreation uses. The project access to the beach provides viewing trains from the bridge, naturalist-led hikes, tide pool viewing, beach and salmon education, night hikes, small boat use, beachcombing, and picnicking. And these are all activities that the bridge connects to the beach. So without this bridge, these activities would no longer be accessible from Carkeek Park safely. Scheduled trips to the beach can have up to 150 people at one time. And the wider bridge will allow the water to be activated through small craft. Number 8, project support. Many groups are currently working in this area and fully support continued beach access as shown by the 8 letters of support that this project received. And future outreach will focus on aesthetic and interpretive aspects of the bridge. Number 9, cost efficiencies. We have 2 pending state grants through RCO, and department volunteer and maintenance activities contribute to cost efficiencies. And with that, that concludes our presentation, and we'd like to thank you for the opportunity, and we welcome your follow-up questions and feedback.
Well, thank you very much, Michelle, and you were perfect on your timing.
Yes, 11.55.96.
You practiced it before. No, you did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Committee members, if you have any questions, comments, clarifying questions, please raise your hand and I'll call on you and we can get those answered for you. Okay, it looks like Christy, you had the first question.
Yes, Christy Evans, Metro Parks Tacoma. I'm just curious, and I'm assuming that you have already asked this question and know it for sure, but you talked about for BSF and the railroad and your permits that you would be able to go in for a maintenance permit. Do you have that actually know that already, or is that what you're assuming?
Let me let Colin answer that, actually.
Sorry, I had a little trouble hearing the question. Could you repeat?
Yeah, I'm thinking about your non-core permit or any of your water side. I realize you may be on the upside, but because you're still doing a footing on that side, are you sure that they're still going to consider this a maintenance project? Have you actually gotten confirmation on that, or is that just what you're assuming?
We've been advised by internal permitting guidance that because it's a replacement of an existing bridge, it would be considered maintenance in that aspect. but that's where we are right now.
Okay, I just know they're a little fussy. So, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Christy. Lowell, you have the next question?
Yeah, hi. This is Lowell Dixon, Department of Natural Resources. I just had a question about, you mentioned there were a couple other grants that that you were getting an ALEA grant. Can you just kind of like elaborate on those just a little bit? And then also, what's the other question? Yeah. Oh, is this, I just wanted to clarify, this is the only water access to the area on the marine side. Is that true? Or are there other access points?
No, this is the only access. So the bridge is failing, as you saw, and if the bridge goes away and we are not able to replace it, then there would be no safe access and no way for people to get to the Piper's Creek, where it reaches Puget Sound for the counts or any of the beach activities at this site. To clarify the grants, the ALEA is one that we're applying for in this RCO cycle right now. And we're making a request for the 500,000.
Yeah, and what will the ALEA go toward? What will the project be?
Yeah, no, it would be the same. It would be the
okay.
same thing. It would be the water access
Okay.
criteria.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lowell. We'll go to Jamie for the next question.
Hi, Michelle. I'm Jamie with Washington State Parks. I'm a landscape architect. I just had a quick question. I noticed on the original design of the bridge, it had a kind of a cage over the railroad tracks. How is this the new design making it safe for people like that? Is it? I didn't see the detail on.
Yeah, certainly. Yes, the new design. I wonder if I can scroll back. I have a couple.
Well, just go ahead and tell me the number, Michelle. Which slide number?
Yeah. Just 1 second. Let me tell you. The slide number would be on design. Just 1 second. I think it's shown on. Okay, it was the slide about accessibility. I believe it's slide 17. Either 17 or 18 would be a good one to look at.
We're on 17.
Oh, I thought that it showed the whole thing. Try 18. Oh, darn. No, I took that off. Okay, we'll go back to 17. And we did have a picture that just showed a vertical side, like a gate. It just goes up in the air. Colin may know the height of that. But it's we looked at several different options for the side cage. And at this point with our 10% plans, it's we're just looking at a straight vertical.
Yeah,
I believe it might be about 5 feet, but Colin might know exact.
I believe it's a little bit higher than that. I can check. We have cross sections similar to the ones shown in the bottom right. BNSF's design guidance offered either the overhead cage or taller straight fencing along the sides, and we opted in the preliminary designs for the straight up protective fencing.
Great. Yeah, it'll be a material that like chain link or a plexiglass or something, I'm sure. So that was my only question. I just wondered about the safety of it. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. Yeah, so we got 2 more questions and we're kind of getting tight on time. But I want to make sure that both David and Sarah get their questions out. So if your responses can be short and sweet, that would be cool. So David, go ahead.
Hi, Michelle. Yeah, just a couple of questions. David Pater with Department of Ecology. For support, did you have any public meetings about the project design, either virtual or in person?
Let me let Colin answer that. There have been some public meetings for a related project that Colin's been working on, so I'll let him speak to that.
Yeah, so we completed a feasibility study that made all the recommendations and provided all the images that you see here. There was no public engagement for that section of the project as we were just looking into recommendations for the replacement. There's been internal review, but we're planning that public engagement upcoming for the project still.
Okay, great. And just a quick second question. You kind of breezed through the expansion criteria. You could briefly summarize that again?
Yeah, absolutely. That's on, let me see, that's on slide 25. The new bridge will, there's going to be some new interpretive signage, so that's an expansion. There's more use of the beach for watercraft. It's assumed that the bridge will allow you to carry some small watercraft across. That's an expansion. The existing bridge is not accessible, so this one will be accessible up to the viewing platform. And there are expanded clearances to meet the BNSF standards they'll be taller and the footings will be wider.
Okay, great. I was busy with the other criteria when that went through.
Yeah,
quickly, so.
I kind of had to speed up a little bit.
Oh,
My
sure.
apologies.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And then Sarah, our last question.
Michelle, Sarah at the City of Linwood. I'm actually interested in your cost efficiency. As you mentioned, you have volunteer efforts, but you didn't give any particulars. Do you have an existing volunteer program? Do you know how many hours a year and what it is that they work on?
Yes, I do. We have an existing volunteer program with Seattle Parks and Recreation. And over the course of every year, the volunteers contribute. I do have some statistics. I'm actually pulling that up. I don't know if we have enough time. It's churning. If Mo's here, he might have that information right.
I don't have it right in front of me. I know that they support over $1.5 million worth of support of our parks. We have thousands of people that volunteer both in Karki, because it is a destination park, but in other parks throughout the city. And so we have a very formal process where you can register for ongoing support to volunteer, or one-off projects. We'll often have like a trail maintenance project that somebody can register for. And then we have lots of ad hoc groups that aren't necessarily registered as registered volunteers, but they provide lots of volunteer support. This is a big park for that because, in large part because of all the school programs that happen there. So we get lots of volunteer support that is not actually calculated here. Sorry, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me.
Okay, did that answer your question, Sarah? Okay, cool.
Great.
Well, I want to thank all of you from Seattle, Michelle. Great presentation. We should have the preliminary results, ranked results within a week or so. So we'll be getting back to you shortly.
Okay. That's super. I don't know if we have 1 second, but there's 22,773 hours of volunteers contributing 1.5 million, 51,000 hours. So thank you so much.
Thank you,
so
Michelle,
much.
and have a great day.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. So evaluation committee members, make sure you finish your scoring, and we're going to be transitioning over to Department of Fish and Wildlife shortly. Now, is it Lisa who will be presenting today?
No, today will be Jesse Reeves, and I believe he's on.
Okay.
Morning.
Thanks. Good morning, Jesse. Can you turn your camera on?
That's where we're going right now.
There we go. Awesome. Hey, how are you today?
I'm good. Yourself?
Great. I just like before, we have 12 minutes for the presentation and 8 minutes for the question and answer at the end. I will, and you're ready to go?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'm gonna stop my video and then I'm gonna give you controls shortly here. Go ahead and double click. See if you grab control.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
So it's taking a little delay, so I'll have to keep that in mind that I don't
Yeah.
zip past stuff for you guys.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of lag. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and start.
Good morning, my name is Jesse Reeves. I work for Department of Fish and Wildlife, the Region 6 Water Access Program. And the scope of this project is an acquisition for 38 acres on the Solduck River. And this project came about by the loss of another water access site due to flooding concerns or flooding issues. And it pretty much deemed this property unusable for the time being anyways, at least for the foreseeable future. The name of that site was Whitcomb Dimmel. This property lies just across river from our previous water access site, Whitcomb Dimmel. So the goal of this project is to acquire 38.12 acres just north of Forks in Clallam County on the Solduck River. This property has over 2,600 feet of river frontage with nearly 1,500 feet of easily accessible bank access. There's a natural opening on the south end of the property that provides a natural spot for launching boats, and it has been by the current property owner for quite some time. So it is accessible already in those regards. You can see the location here. Way up there in Forks. The proposed access site is on the Solduck River on mile 18, roughly 4 miles northwest of the city of Forks. Forks is a 3-hour drive from Olympia and roughly a 4-hour drive from Seattle. This regional location map here, where the star is where our property, and if you can see it, Whitcomb Dimmel, the old launch, is directly across river. And we have 2 upriver access sites, Maxfield and the Solduck Hatchery, which also has a boat ramp just below the hatchery. The property topic is within the red border. And as you can see, much of the southern area has access to the river itself. You can see the river bar, which this map is a little bit older, but there is more property available on this edge for water or recreational activities. Getting ahead here. The public need, one more. The public need for this site is especially important because of its location. Access at Wickham Demo being lost, the next public access between that and Maxfield is at mile marker 6, river mile marker 6. That creates a 16-mile float without access to take out. This property not only lets people take out before there's some technical water, which is not easily navigated by your average oarsmen, but also from very experienced boaters that it can be very difficult. That same set of technical water is very popular amongst rafters and boaters and white water enthusiasts. So this site is important for a couple of different reasons, and not just for the fishing community, but people who want to exit the river safely and people who want to enter the river just for what the river offers water-wise below this access. The pristine waters of the Solduck River are the optimum environment for numerous salmon and steelhead. Anglers travel from all over the country to fish the world famous Solduck River, renowned for its steelhead and salmon runs. It's one of the toughest fighting fish in North America. And this particular river system is one of the most written about and photographed and pursued for not only the wild steelhead stocks, but the Solduck hatchery also produces 1.4 million spring and summer Chinook, 100,000 summer coho, in addition to 500,000 fall coho, and another 500,000 sockeye salmon. These fish are all primarily raised to be caught by sportsmen. Generally, throughout any season of the year, there's fish to be had on the Solduck, which is kind of unique that a lot of rivers do close down, and the Solduck usually has some fish or fishing opportunity year-round. The WWRP hatchery provides these opportunities, but not only for catch and keep, but the wild steelhead angling community, that's part of what draws people to this river in particular, is to catch one of these elusive wild steelhead that are literally world renowned.
Hey, Jesse, yeah. I want to interrupt real quick. We're running short on time.
Okay.
Just letting you know, you've gone 7 minutes and you're still on the first question. So we only have about 4 minutes and 45 seconds left.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
okay.
Here we go. So the demographics, and here's the immediacy of threat, which I will jump to. The need for secure this property for the public. I'm not sure why that jumped ahead of me twice. Are we on a flooded picture, or I can't?
You're on site suitability picture. Now you're in a flooded area with mud.
Okay. The need to secure this property for the public is not only needed, but it's dire. The loss of the access to the Whitcomb Dimmel really makes an impact for this river system. The local community depends on these recreational dollars, and the public access is crucial to that. As you can see here, this is what remains of the previous access at Whitcomb Dimmel. There's been several interested parties in this particular property that's been for sale, and word of mouth has traveled. So I'm surprised that we're even still here entertaining the idea of potentially being able to acquire this property. It's it's one of a kind. Site suitability, this property is already ready for its intended use. There's the paved access immediately off of Highway 101 to a maintained gravel road, which you can see. There's more than enough parking on the river bar and above to accommodate several vehicles and trucks and trailers. There's over 1,000 feet of river bank access for numerous types of recreation aside from just fishing, but there is also no real need at this point for any type of infrastructure besides sign standard and a kiosk for information, maybe regulatory rules and such. Portable restrooms would be brought in to accommodate those, and potentially a permanent restroom if that was determined to be needed in the future. This site also would fit right in with our current maintenance structure that exists in the area with several sites in the immediate vicinity that this would be easily maintained. The possibility for the expansion of infrastructure is minimal. There's not a lot of needs to change anything at this site. It has a variety of options for uses on top of the fishing, but school field trips, data collection, science projects, mitigation deferments for other spots in the agency or were to be had. I think it's a great property that could be used for natural resource stewardship and volunteer collaborations. I think this property would also offer a lot of educational opportunities. We have a lot of support from the local communities, several fishing groups, the city of Forks, Clallam County, just to name a few. And we have several letters of support to add to those. The cost efficiency of this property would be maintained by DFW's water access staff with infrastructure already in place. The operation and maintenance would be funded by Discover Pass revenue. The contribution of fishing dollars in this area is crucial. Once again, this is in the 6th congressional district with over 87,000 anglers who spent over $152 million fishing related purchases in Washington state in 2018. The mentioned property could provide a variety of opportunities for recreation, but also the community as a whole, and WDFW and other agencies for research, and just based on its location and what the property has to add with no additional cost. It's there and ready for use, but also ready to be used for other things aside from recreation.
And Jesse, that is a question that you don't need to answer. That'll be scored by RCO staff outside of this.
What's that?
The growth management
Okay.
and stuff like that. So
I have had some information there, but I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has.
control. Great. Well, thank you very much, Jesse. Go ahead, Sarah. You had the first question.
Hi, Jesse. Sarah from
Morning.
the city of Linwood. Can you go back to your demographic slides? We skipped over them and I wanted to look at the data.
Okay, let's see.
I'll do it for you.
Okay, yeah, you have immediate control there. It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Can you just tell me if this demographic data is for the census tract or which area around the site?
So let's see, I think what I had in place was, get back up here. My screen doesn't want to work here very well either. So it's the county demographic.
Thank you.
and
Okay, well, thank you, Sarah, for that question. David, you're next.
Hi, Jesse, David Pater, Department of Ecology. I'd like to just get a little bit more information about the boat launch on the property. You showed a map earlier that pointed to a location. But it was, no, that wasn't the one. I think it was further down.
There should be two of them, and then in the very last slide, it shows it again.
Yeah, that might be it. There we go. You just passed it. There you go. No, new launch. So this is real confusing to me. So the new launch is on the sort of the peninsula of land. You're
It
pointing
is,
this
so-
arrow, but it looks like there's a side channel. I'm just not seeing how accessible it is, and maybe, you know, we're not seeing everything from this aerial, obviously.
So yeah, from the aerial, so if you see the roadway, and it kind of looks like slots in the middle, so that you
Right.
follow down that roadway directly to 101, and that opening that you see on the peninsula, that's actually the approach to the river bar. And if the river water level changes right at the edge of the tree line, the launch can be used there. So at any given, aside from major flooding, the river is accessible. So that little peninsula there and that opening that you see to the right of the peninsula, that is the actual launch approach.
To the right of the peninsula on the
Well,
opposite
you see,
bank of the
yeah,
river?
so you see the opening that's there. It's not really a side channel, that's gravel bar.
That's a gravel bar. But the actual launch
Is at the
is,
very tip of that,
is the very tip of the peninsula.
right at the end of that gravel bar.
Okay, okay. And you said that it's currently accessible and doesn't need improvement. Could you tell me what kind of boats would be able to use that in its current condition?
Primarily, I think the majority of uses that would be drift boats for the most part.
Mhm.
Kayaks, rafts. I know that in this area, there's a lot of the, you know, not only white router, but the very large rafts that guys use a lot for fly fishing and such. So I would say roughly 20 feet and under. I don't ever recall seeing any motorized or jet sleds on this old dock. I'm not sure if it's allowed or not. I know some of these rivers have changed their rules,
Right.
but never ever this high in the system.
But
Generally,
the-
there's not enough water to provide
But
it.
the substrate or whatever's there, material is supportive enough for somebody to back up a boat trailer. And
Absolutely.
launch a raft, launch a drift boat. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah, I would say that, I mean, it's a fully functional ramp and launch right now.
Okay,
It's been used by the private property owner for his use, but also I'm sure his friends and family over time, but it's functional. If you see one of the pictures, I know it's in the last slide as well, that was actually taken on that ramp on that peninsula just a few weeks ago.
okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you, David. And Lowell, you, looks like you have the last question.
Okay, yeah, it's similar to David's, and that's just, have you thought about how the DFW property where the old launch is and how the new WDF property might be used in tandem, or are they going to be completely separate, or how, you know, how much of the old use would the new use overlap with? It's kind of,
Well, I think at this point, there's no real time frame on knowing what the Whitcomb Dimmel site can be used for. You see in the pictures, the creek that used to run kind of adjacent to the ramp is now running in the old ramp lane. And to protect the salmon and steelhead smolts, we can't promote any vehicle use in that area. So we still are encouraging foot traffic if anybody wants to use that access to that river bar there. Somebody could probably carry in a float tube or something. It's quite a bit of distance to carry a boat, but it could be done. At this point, that property is still accessible but for foot traffic, so that could also lend another option of maintaining both sites, as one is a walk-in access and one is more of the vehicle, even though there's bank access for both. It still currently has a restroom that we stop and maintain on a regular basis, so literally they're only a couple of miles away from each other as far as roadway goes. So I think they would be treated as kind of the same, property, the same maintenance schedule. I don't know about any future uses or plans for the existing site or what could be changed or done in those regards, but I don't think it's going to be mothballed or anything like that or abandoned. I think we want to still encourage people to use it, just in a different way now.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Lowell, for your question. And Jesse, thank you very much for your presentation. We should have the results from the preliminary list next week for you.
Okay, well, apologize, I couldn't get through it all in a timely fashion.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. You did a great job. Thank you very
Thank
much
you for your guys' consideration.
Yeah, thank you. So evaluation committee members, we have entered our break. We're running a little bit behind schedule, but I'm wondering if and folks could get back by 11:10 for our next. Will that work for y'all, or? Okay, just try to keep us on schedule. Thank you for that. And just at least get your legs stretched and make sure you finish up scoring on this one and then do what you need to do. And we'll try to get started at 11:10. I'll see y'all then. Thank you. Well, hello, everybody. We're back. It's officially 11:10. Sure, all of our evaluation committee members are back, ready to go. So we have Mercer Island, the city of Mercer Island, and who will be presenting today?
That is me, Paul West.
Okay, Paul.
Ready to go?
Just one sec. I'm in the process of giving you controls. Okay. Okay, go ahead and see if you can grab control.
Okay.
And
I think that I just advanced that slide, so that might be.
Or use your arrow keys to go back now to the beginning. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Great.
And then anyways, welcome, Paul. I just want to let you know you have 12 minutes for your PowerPoint presentation, and then we'll have 8 minutes for question and answer when we're all done.
Great.
Okay, you go ahead and start whenever you're ready.
The city of Mercer Island is within Lake Washington, King County. Our project is within Luther Burbank Park on the north end of Mercer Island. The site is located just off I-90 between Seattle and Bellevue. The project is on the shoreline of Lake Washington. The current boating facility was developed in 1974. It includes fixed pier docks, a pedestrian plaza, a storage building, and a historic steam plant and restrooms. This project is a 7-minute walk from a Sound Transit light rail station. Starting in 2024, this project will cover a service area containing 2.9 million people. The facility is 50 years old. Rot has overtaken the docks, and the plaza paving is failing. Criteria 1 is public need. This project will create a gathering space for multi-use aquatic recreation. While there are many water access points on Lake Washington, there are a few locations that bring together the range of desires for shoreline access. This project gives everyone from die-hard boaters to those who literally just want to get their feet wet a way to participate. This project was originally envisioned in the 2006 Luther Burbank Park Master Plan. The project is a top priority in the 2022 Mercer Island Pros Plan. The design of this project achieves SCORP priorities for equity, youth, and sustaining our legacy. This program hits on 4 of the 6 recommendations of the state boating programs plan. In our 2018 demand study, it showed the expected growth in small boat use would not be met by the fixed pier docks. Then the pandemic hit. Paddle sport growth has been estimated at 30 to 40% since then. Our waterfront user survey found that 65% of respondents said they would use the docks if they better serve small boats. In 2020, we conducted a 5-week design open house and presented 3 design alternatives. We received 131 survey responses that showed people wanted more facilities and services for paddlecraft. Our youth boating programs at the site are the most popular summer camps we offer. Lake Washington has many water access points, but relatively few comparable multi-use sites that could appeal to a broad audience of boaters and non-boaters. We identified 4. We asked, is the site attractive to non-boaters? Are there other things to do in the park? Is it accessible by transit? Is it usable by all classes of boats? Asking these questions, we found that only Jean Coulon Park was comparable to the project we are proposing. Luther Burbank Park is a regional park. Bellevue College conducted a statistical survey that supports this assertion. It found that 60% of park users were not from Mercer Island. Most of the park users come on the interstate highways, and in 2024, light rail will be another option. We anticipate an increase in park usage once it opens. We used the population data provided by RCO to construct the following maps. With a service area of 10 miles, census tracts with median household income below state average can be found in both Seattle and Bellevue. Census tracts where the percentage of people of color is above state percentage are widespread throughout the service area. A census tract next to the project is one of these. Census tracts where the percentage of people with disability is above the state percentage are less prevalent, but a census tract next to the project site also meets this criteria. Census tracts where the body mass index is above the state average are more prevalent in the southwest sector of the service area. Census tracts where the mortality rate is above the state average are scattered through the service area. This is a demographic that is less well served by the project. Project design. This slide is a rendering of what the new facility would look like. This project would build a new floating dock for non-motorized boats, improve shoreline access with an expanded beach and overwater platform, and provide additional water access with plaza improvements and a new viewing platform on top of the restroom annex. This project is part of a larger comprehensive initiative for the entire waterfront area. The related projects are the small powerboat dock, the large powerboat pier, and the steam plant stabilization. We have given particular attention to designing these features to separate various boating and non-boating uses to reduce user conflicts. The viewing deck, overwater platform, and non-motorized dock provide new recreational experiences. The non-motorized dock will replace a fixed pier. It will reuse an existing float and add a new low freeboard float for paddlecraft. Finger docks will help paddlers load and unload. The outer dock provides wave attenuation. Lake Washington has changed in the last 10 years with the advent of wake surfing boats. The large wakes these boats generate create a hazard for people using small craft. This wave attenuation dock addresses this. The project routes create 4 new ADA accessible elements: the viewing deck, the overwater platform, the non-motorized dock, and the cobble beach. The non-motorized dock will also feature an easy launch ramp for users who prefer to enter their boat before it is floating. Underlying all these improvements will be a drainage system that protects the improvements. The original facility did not have a drainage system. The plaza paving and restroom annex have suffered water damage as a result. This system will install drain lines to support the new improvements. It will capture runoff from the plaza in permeable pavers and conduct it through a biofiltration system before it goes into Lake Washington. With this, the plaza hardscape provides some of the benefits of a naturally vegetated shoreline. An element unique to this project is the proposed overwater platform. Current use of the site demonstrates the strong demand for this type of recreation. There would be a 4-foot wide platform and 2 risers attached to the bulkhead. The bottom step would be just above ordinary high water, which would allow waves to flow across it. This will allow people to dip their feet into the water during summer months. This feature promises to be a gathering spot for everyone, and especially those less comfortable with getting into the water, a way to interact with the lake. Because the overwater platform is a unique feature, we are having the design reviewed for safety and usability by a qualified aquatic recreation consultant. A new viewing deck on top of the existing restrooms would provide views of waterfront activity and be a place for boating classes to gather away from the plaza traffic. Seating would be flexible based on seasonal need. This project includes renovations of the restrooms, plaza, and cobble beach. The existing cobble beach will be widened. Currently, it is only 5 feet wide during the summer high water period. Widening it would give pedestrians a place to access water and paddlers a place to land. We have had meetings with these 5 agencies to prepare for our permit submittals. We are confident we will obtain permits for this design. Sustainability. The overwater stairs impact the nearshore environment even with graded decking. You can see in the lake bottom in this reach has been heavily disturbed. It is expected that migratory fish stay offshore in this reach. The overwater coverage in this reach has less impact on fish habitat. Based on regulatory agency review, the docks have been moved further offshore and the closest section will get graded decking. The critical areas study has determined that there is no net loss of biological function from this project. The non-motorized dock will replace the existing concrete deck with a graded deck. Shoreline plantings will provide shade and terrestrial habitat. This project removes 74 creosote pilings and replaces them with 29 steel pilings. Throughout this project, our programs and posted materials will foster public awareness of the aquatic lands and water quality, especially through our youth programs. This project includes low-impact development features. This project will be accessible by light rail. The site is next to the Mountains of Sound Regional Trail. Water access at this site provides a cooling environment that is accessible to frontline communities affected by climate extremes. Site suitability. This 1950s aerial of the Reform School is a reminder that this site has been in public use for over 100 years. The site is easy to access by car or transit. The site is sheltered from prevailing winds. Water quality and temperature are suitable for contact and immersion. Boating facilities already exist here. Expansion. This project expands an existing facility. It provides over 3,100 square feet of new facilities that do not currently exist. In addition, it provides 365 linear feet of new access routes. Diversity of recreational uses. The city's comprehensive waterfront initiative will provide for a range of water-based uses. Boaters and non-boaters have a place here. That project connects to a 55-acre park with many additional recreation options in the park, such as picnicking, playgrounds, tennis, pickleball, dog run, amphitheater, swim beach, and miles of trails. Project support. The project has been engaging the public in scoping and design since 2018. The project has maintained an interactive web page where people can find project information and provide input at any time. Starting in 2020, the city ran a 2-year campaign of public engagement in the design process, culminating in the city council approving a 30% design in March of 2022. This project has received support letters from 12 organizations and individuals. Cost efficiencies. This project is part of the city's comprehensive waterfront initiative. There are economies of scale in redoing the entire site as a single project. The 3 major renovation elements in the project are cost efficiencies over building new facilities. We are reusing an existing float which saves money and reduces waste. The Waterfront Initiative has secured 4 grants to date. It may receive up to 10 grants in total. That is a quick run through of the criteria. I'm happy to answer questions.
Well, thank you very much, Paul. Yeah, you even had a little time to spare there, so congratulations. I'd like to now open it up to the evaluation committee members for any questions or comments or anything you need clarified. And it looks like Sarah, you have your hand up, so go ahead. You're muted, Sarah. Sarah, you're muted.
I'm so sorry. Hi, Paul. Sarah from the city of Linwood. You mentioned that there's wave attenuation benefit from the outer dock, I think, but that the outer dock is part of a separate project. Can you kind of clarify that relationship?
Yes, that's a good question. The outer dock is a dock that is going to be for small motorized boats up to 26 feet. We're hoping for boating facilities program funding to help with that. So, but there is going to be proration of that facility between the boating facilities project and this project, and that's been figured into the budget of this project. Because there is benefit. The wave attenuation is the proration of the wave attenuation aspect only. So in other words, I could go into how we prorated it, but it's a little complicated.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Jamie, you have your hand up next.
Hi, Paul. I'm Jamie. I'm with Washington State Parks as a landscape architect. I wanted to ask about the ADA access. I couldn't tell from the site plan. It seemed pretty busy at this level of the drawings, but what is the surfacing? Did I see it was going to be gravel or will it be paved?
So the plaza is going to be paved. Let's see. The beach access ramp is concrete. The ramp up to the outdoor classroom is gravel, and the ramp out to the docks is a graded decking.
Okay, thank you.
And it looks like Lowell, you have your hand up.
Yeah, hi, Lowell Dixon, Department of Natural Resources. Couple questions. One, do you anticipate with these changes in the waterfront, the docks and such, that there'll be additional demand placed on the park? In other words, will parking Have you done any kind of parking studies? And then the other question I had, kind of simple, is how much does it cost to either park here or enter the park?
We have not done parking demand studies. And we have 172 parking spaces in the park. And there's also a park and ride that's within a 7-minute walk that can provide overflow parking.
Mhm.
So there's quite a bit of parking available. And I'll say that on a really beautiful spring Sunday, all that parking fills up.
Uh-huh.
So we understand that there's going to be a peak demand that may not be met by the current parking, but most of the time there is parking available. And as for, oh, I'm sorry, what was your second question?
It was just, is there a fee to enter the park?
This is a totally free park. There's no fee. There's no parking fee. There's nothing. There's no fee to moor your boat here. It's a day-use park.
Wow, that's great. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Lowell. Any additional questions for Paul?
I just want to say this picture that I'm showing you in the last slide is a rendering from the 1972 master plan. I just thought it was a cool picture because it shows the viewing deck that we're proposing.
Oh yeah, that's cool. So Paul, I want to thank you very much for taking the time and coming out and presenting your project. Also want to let you know that we will have results of the preliminary list. Should be good to go around next week or so. So thanks again for your presentation.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, have a great day. Evaluating committee, just go ahead and start working on finishing up your scoring on the city of Mercer Island, and we'll be transitioning to Linwood Parks and Rec shortly. And who from Linwood's going to be presenting? Is that you, Ashley?
I'm going to be advancing the slides, and then Monica Thompson's going to be presenting.
Okay, great. So I will be giving you controls then, Ashley. Shortly. Yeah. And why don't we start transitioning that now then? Here I will stop my video. Actually, I need to, sorry about this.
All good.
Okay. So now go ahead and double click
Okay.
your mouse. Okay, and then use your arrow keys to see if you can move the slides.
Yep.
Okay, and
I will bump back one.
there you go, perfect.
And I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, okay, there you are. So whenever you guys are ready, feel free to start. I want to let you know that you have 12 minutes for your presentation, and then there'll be 8 minutes afterwards for question and answer. So whenever you're ready, feel free to start.
Hello, I'm Monica Thompson with Linwood's Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Arts Department. Our project will acquire property to expand water access, connecting with nature through urban fishing, picnicking, and nature viewing. The city of Linwood is north of Seattle in South Snohomish County on I-5. Sprague's Pond is a 2-acre pond within South Linwood neighborhood, adjacent to the Cedar Valley neighborhood and the city center district. This project will acquire the 1.77-acre property outlined in orange on the eastern shore of Sprague's Pond. On the west side is Sprague's Pond Mini Park, outlined in green. Until this year, the mini park has been classified as mini because it was just 0.9 acres. Earlier this year, the city acquired the adjacent 1.6-acre parcel, shown in yellow, which includes the shoreline and open water area. It is now a 2.5-acre park with a playground, path, sloped lawn, and 9-stall parking lot. Now, our goal is to meet growing population and recreation demands by further expanding the park and water access. 1. Public need. Despite its small size, Sprague's Pond Mini Park plays an outsized role in the community because it provides rare water access in a central location surrounded by commercial and multifamily density. The South Linwood neighborhood contains 20% of the city's population at a higher density than the rest of the city. Our growth rate is 2,000 new residents annually, but is projected to increase. With Link Light Rail service opening in 2024, the adjacent city center district is transforming from car-oriented strip malls into transit-oriented mixed-use developments. This project is less than a quarter of a mile and within a 10-minute walk from the core via Scriber Creek Trail, a road-separated pedestrian and bicycle trail. We need to invest in this rare opportunity in advance of this growth. Sprague's Pond is one of only 2 publicly available water bodies in the city. Scarborough Lake, the other public water body, is very popular for urban fishing and nature viewing. Residents throughout South Linwood and the city regularly come here to fish. However, the dock is down a soft surface trail that frequently floods and is not ADA accessible. According to cell phone data, Sprague's Pond Mini Park hosted 7,300 visits in 2020 and an estimated 8,700 visits in 21. With only 9 parking spaces, its use is limited to primarily serving residents within walking distance. The mini park's 7,000 square foot lawn has a steep grade of 15 to 20% down to the water, making it unstable for fishing for able-bodied persons and ADA access infeasible. It's also slippery, especially after it's rained. In addition to the 2 fishing sites in Linwood, there are 17 other lakeshore freshwater urban fishing sites within a 15-mile radius, but Sprague's Pond is one of only 3 in this area that can be served by light rail. Unaware that visitors are trespassing, fishers have already discovered this property. Because it is currently open and undeveloped, this site feels like a popular park. Sprague's Pond is within the Scriber Creek Basin of the Swamp Creek watershed in the Lake Washington Cedar Sammamish Watershed Resource Inventory Area 8. Scriber Creek is the main drainage basin in Linwood and has experienced repeated and significant flooding for several decades. Sprague's Pond is a Category 3 wetland with moderate functionality because it has been disturbed by its urban surroundings. With restoration, the pond could add water storage capacity to the Scriber Creek watershed, which would help mitigate urban flooding. To do so, the city needs greater access to the shores of Sprague's Pond for future restoration. Our project meets 4 out of 5 metrics of underserved populations. The median household income is below the state's average. Racial and linguistic diversity with a persons of color population is almost double the state's. The disabled persons population is above the state's, and why immediate access to the pond is an important benefit of this project. Residents of the nearby senior housing complex have a variety of mobility challenges. BMI rates are also above the state's, and the mortality rate is below the state's. About 2,600 South Linwood residents live within a 10-minute walk, of which 26% are Hispanic, 21% are Asian, and 52% of households are low income. We are meeting the statewide comprehensive outdoor recreation plan recommendation to include recreation when planning for growth, given the proximity of the anticipated density from transit-oriented developments due to the new light rail service. Similarly, our 2022 park plan update recognized development pressure on available land. This project aligns with our strategic direction to prepare for the future by strategically acquiring additional parklands. Our level of service goal is to provide 3.5 acres per 1,000 residents, which means acquisition is critically important to adequately serve the city's growing population. The project also meets the SCORP priority to improve equity of parks by connecting people to popular activities with a 25% participation rate in freshwater fishing statewide. By acquiring a site already used for fishing, we're providing experiences where people go most. Our Park and 21 comprehensive plan names acquiring open space in the Scriber Creek watershed. Our 2022 capital facilities plan also names this project. The project also addresses the community identified vision that residents of all ages have safe places to play and learn in the 2021 South Linwood Neighborhood Plan. 2, immediacy of threat. We were at risk of losing this property for nature viewing and water access to development. We exercised our purchase and sale agreement and acquired the property on June 23rd with the waiver of retroactivity. As you'll see, this reflected the landowner's urgency. The landowner was planning to build a new Linwood Elks Lodge, an 11,000 square foot commercial office building and entertainment facility. Historically, the site contained a similar office building until it burned down in 2012 and was cleared. The landowner purchased the property in 2016 with the intent to develop. Situated on a low plateau and with flat topography, scenic views of the pond, existing parking facilities, and similar office buildings adjacent to it, the site is well suited for this building and use. The landowner had an approved land use permit for their 2-story building overlooking the water and had applied for building permits that were under review. Because of a grandfathered status, the Elks development would have been allowed to be built near the shoreline and within the 150-foot wetland buffer, and further contribute to degraded water quality. Plus, without this property's shoreline and water access, water quality monitoring and restoration would be more difficult. However, the landowner encountered unanticipated costs with development and was willing to consider other ideas, including reducing the structure size to a 5,000 square foot 1-story building or selling the property to build at another location. They listed the property for sale in April 2020 for $1.84 million. If we hadn't acquired the property when we did, the landowner would have begun construction by the end of this year, and our chance to expand public water access would have been lost forever. The other parcels on the pond to the north and south are less suited for parkland since they both contain large office buildings. 5, site suitability. With 461 linear feet of shoreline, a flat open lawn, trees, parking lot, and driveway, this parcel is ready to be combined with the existing park to become a destination for urban fishing, nature viewing, picnicking, and passive recreation. The site is ready for visitors from near and far. The existing parking lot can accommodate up to 37 spots. As I mentioned, the site is near the future light rail station, which connects to the Scriber Creek Trail, a spur off the 18-mile regional interurban trail. Within our densest neighborhood, it's central for people living in low-income housing in yellow and in senior housing in orange. It's also less than a 3/4 mile to the Edmonds School District highest need school in purple, which gives us an opportunity to partner and provide environmental education. The flat topography, proximity, and length of accessible route to the pond allows easy access for people of all ages and skill levels. The entry is approximately 100 feet from the water, so people won't have to hike to the dock with fishing gear like at Scriber Lake Park. This park will be the only park to offer immediate access to the water and open water views. Sprague's Pond is a depressional wetland with peat soils and a high water table with palustrine forested and emergent plant communities like Pacific willow and red alder and the broadleaf cattail. Just under half the site is open water. The pond is habitat for bass, which the Department of Ecology lists as safe to eat up to twice a month statewide, and trout, which has no consumption restrictions. In the 50s and 60s, the Sprague family harvested the site's peat soils, thereby creating Sprague's Pond. The Phase 1 environmental site assessment found no recognized environmental conditions that would present a threat to its use as a park. To open the site, we plan to restripe the parking lot, ensure compliance with ADA standards, develop a long-term maintenance plan, and add a park sign by October. Our maintenance plan will specify native plantings, pesticide-free lawn care, and a water quality monitoring program. Our long-term vision includes removing excess pavement and planting trees and shrubs in the parking lot to cool the lot and pond, and adding a bridge as an overwater dock for fishing and a viewpoint for environmental education, a picnic shelter for gathering, and a restroom. All utilities are available on site. 6, expansion. This project will expand Sprague's Pond Mini Park by acquiring an adjacent parcel, which people already use as a park. It directly expands an existing park with 461 linear feet of low bank shoreline for additional water access and nature viewing, an open lawn away from Sprague's Pond Mini Park's noisy playground, and a large parking lot. Expanding our ownership to the eastern shore will enable us to manage the property to improve habitat and water quality and provide more access for watershed restoration opportunities. 8, project support. Because this is a time-sensitive acquisition with confidential information, we've had to close prior to engaging the public, though have recently called for feedback in our newsletter and toured the site with our Parks and Recreation Board. We have received 2 letters of support. The park plan goal of acquiring parklands emerged as a community priority throughout a dozen community open houses and stakeholder meetings in 2013, and it was confirmed in 3 surveys in 2021 for the plan's recent update. We promoted the surveys where people are at the recreation center, the senior center, food bank, COVID vaccine clinics, and every park. For the South Linwood Neighborhood Plan, a co-design committee of 21 community members crafted the vision that residents of all ages have safe places to play and learn, which this project helps realize. The co-design committee was a deliberate effort to position city staff as active listeners and shift unequal power dynamics. Members were a mix of residents, business owners, parents, representatives of faith organizations, and service providers. The committee met 9 times in between 20 and 21 and served as ambassadors to the broader community. 9, cost efficiencies. We've received a Snohomish County Conservation Futures Grant for $500,000. The existing parking lot and utilities save us more than $500,000 in development costs because we don't have to install this as new infrastructure. In 2020, a group of bird watchers and fishers partnered with the Linwood Parks and Recreation Foundation to create the Friends of Scriber Lake Park, a volunteer and advocacy group. To date, we've partnered to host 4 park service events with volunteers helping with restoration projects, including removing invasive weeds and monitoring water quality. Once acquired, we plan to engage them with similar volunteer opportunities on this site. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Monica. You're definitely within your time limits, so.
Bonus points.
Yeah, bonus points. Okay, let's see. I just want to say, Monica, are you still seeing the thank you sign?
I do.
Okay, great, great. Well, once again, thank you very much, Monica and Ashley. We're going to now open it up for question and answer from our evaluation committee members. So members, feel free to raise your hand if you have any questions or comments or something that needs to be clarified. I'm not seeing. You must have done a really good job answering all their questions. Okay, we'll just give it a couple more, like a minute or so. And evaluation committee members, if you don't have anything, you just keep wrapping up your scoring. But if there's any questions, feel free to raise your hands to make sure you can evaluate this project at your best ability. Make sure you have all the information you need. Okay, well, I got one from Eleanor. Thank you, Eleanor. Feel free to ask your question or comment.
Hi, Monica.
Good morning. It's still morning, just barely.
It's still morning. Yes, it is. Could you remind me what you said about the wheelchair accessible path that you plan on putting in and what kind of surface that will be, considering that this is a wetland area?
Thank you for that question. So as in the concept plan, we're showing a hard surface. We haven't gone so far as to determine if that would be, some kind of porous pavement or if it would be, a concrete or asphalt. But the intent would be to make it not gravel, but to be asphalt, a porous asphalt, a concrete, or a porous concrete, I think, moving forward. So it really is going to depend, I think, in part on expectations of maintenance. We do have some geese on site and just general, I think, the best material for accessibility.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question, Eleanor.
The concept image is on slide 32.
Okay, we'll do that for you. Yeah, I'll do that for you.
Thank you. I can't see too.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Okay.
Yeah, what we tried to do in the concept plan is that there's actually quite a bit of additional hard surface that can be removed. So we just tried to balance the removal of hard surface with our proposed new impervious surfacing.
Okay.
So that there would be a wash of sorts.
Great. Okay. Well, hey, Monica and Ashley, thank you so much for your time. And you should hear the results, the preliminary results within a week of the ranked list for you guys to see. So your OGM will be reaching out to you in a week or so. So I want to thank you very much for taking the time to come out and presenting your project.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Have a great afternoon.
Okay. Thank you very much. So evaluation committee members, if you would hold tight, we'll transition into wrap up. I'm going to stop the live stream, and